Hello viewers, I'm Disastrous and welcome to my channel. First things first, thank you for clicking on this video. I really appreciate it. If you like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel if you don't want to miss any more recent updates of my channel. So without further ado, let's get started. So let's talk about today's topic. The topic under discussion today is 12 unknown facts about World War II. So we all know that World War II is one of the most deadliest and most lethal wars that the world has ever seen, that mankind has ever seen. It was really disastrous, and it was a catastrophe for mankind. So we really hope that such wars don't take place in the immediate future as well. Let's get started. Before going straight into the facts, let's discuss something about World War II. And before discussing the causes of World War II, a small recap of World War I is required. A small recap of the outcome. So the World War I was fought between two groups of countries. One group of countries was known as the Allied powers, and the other group of countries was known as the Central powers. So the Allied powers, consisted of countries like France, the British Empire, USA, USSR, Japan, Italy, Belgium, Montenegro, Serbia, and some of their allies. And the Central powers consisted of countries like the Ottoman Empire, Germany, Austria-Hungary, and some of their allies, right? So these two powers clashed within each other, and obviously we all know the outcome. The Allied powers won brilliantly. They smashed the Central powers, and Germany was humiliated with a treaty known as the Treaty of Versailles. That brings us to the first cause of World War II, that is the Treaty of Versailles, which was signed in 1919. Okay, after the World War I was completed, a treaty was signed, which was called a peace treaty, but in fact it was not a peace treaty. It was a sort of triggering treaty which triggered Germany, because Germany was insulted in that treaty. All the terms of the treaty were completely against Germany. Some of the terms included, the first term was that Germany was declared guilty of aggression, despite the fact that Britain and France were equally responsible for the outbreak of the World War I. Despite Britain and France being equally responsible for the outbreak of World War I, Germany was a country which was supposed to pay for the damages suffered by the Allied powers, and the cost of reparations and the cost of, compensation was fixed at $33 billion. It was a huge loss to Germany as a whole, especially to the German economy. And some of the other other terms in the treaty included ceding away some of its territories to countries like Denmark, Poland, and Belgium. And there's a river in Germany known as Rhine, and the areas near the Rhine are near the river Rhine are very fertile, right? The agriculture is very much imminent, and agriculture is agriculture is a very conducive occupation in the west of Rhine, and all the territories to the west of Rhine were snatched away from Germany, and those territories were under the Allied powers for almost 15 years. And Germany had some coal mines in an area called Saar, and Saar was ceded to France. And Germany didn't voluntarily cede it, of course. It was forced to cede the coal mines in Saar to France for 15 years. And the German army was, it was severely restricted. Germany was supposed to recruit only 100,000 soldiers, and the German Navy was forced to recruit only 15,000 men and just 24 ships. And the German Air Force was completely dissolved. There wasn't a single German fighter plane, or there wasn't a single German naval, not naval, like there wasn't a single German flight or a single German military helicopter that was in force during this period, because Germany was severely affected in all the areas, right from its economy to its military. Germany was completely humiliated. So Germany obviously wanted revenge. They wanted revenge, and Germany wanted to get back at the top of the world, and for doing that they had to go up against the Allied powers once again. But Germany was not alone this time. Another country which was not satisfied by the terms of the Treaty of Versailles was Italy. Italy, of course, fought for the Allied powers in the World War I, but it was not satisfied with the treaty at all, because initially in World War I, Italy promised to to support Germany, but then it betrayed Germany and it went to the side of the Allied powers. So Italy obviously hoped that it would get something huge. It would get some territories of Germany, some territories of Turkey, some huge profitable territories in the Treaty of Versailles. But Italy didn't get any sort of those territories. Italy just got 3 or 4 prominent territories, and even those territories didn't actually belong to Germany or Turkey, right? Because Italy wanted some territories from Germany, wanted some territories from Austria-Hungary, wanted some territories from Turkey, but the territories that Italy wanted were not given to them, because countries like Britain, France, and all those countries, they dominated a major share of of the booty of World War One, and Italy was left almost empty-handed. It got just 3 or 4 territories which were not profitable enough. So as a result, Italy felt betrayed and it joined hands with Germany and it promised to help Germany in World War Two. That's how the Treaty of Versailles led to the outbreak of World War Two. The second cause is that the rise of fascism and Nazism. Fascism was a dictatorship movement in Italy, and Nazism was a dictatorship movement in Germany. And in Italy, the leader was Benito Mussolini, and in Germany, the dictator or the leader or the ruler, whatever you call it, the Death Führer, that was the title given to the great Adolf Hitler. He proclaimed himself as the master of Germany, and he proclaimed that he'll bring Germany back to the top. And he also, took a promise. He vowed that Germany would, have its revenge, and it'll succeed in another great war. So Mussolini and Hitler joined hands together, and that's how fascism and Nazism led to the outbreak of the World War II. The third reason is the failure of League of Nations. League of Nations was a very important organization that was formed after World War One, and the main motto of the League of Nations was to prevent the outbreak of any further war, but it failed miserably because there was almost a war between Italy and Greece during that period of time, and the League of Nations wasn't able to stop it. No, it wasn't able to stop it. In fact, countries like Russia, Britain, and France had to step in, and they stopped the war. The League of Nations was inefficient, and the United States of America was ineffective. Like, it wasn't a member of the League of Nations at all. It was not interested in, it was ineffective in the League of Nations. It was dormant. The United States of America refused to join the League of Nations, and it remained ineffective during this particular time. And some other big countries also didn't join it. Germany obviously was not a part of the League of Nations. Russia was not a part of the League of Nations. So the League of Nations failed miserably. And Japanese invasion of China also was a major reason, because Japan invaded some territories of Britain and France in China. So this obviously angered Britain and France. And the main reason was Hitler's invasion of Poland. Hitler ordered his forces to invade Poland because some territories of Germany was ceded to Poland, so he wanted those territories back. So as a result, on September 1st, 1909, Hitler ordered a war on Poland, and obviously countries like France, Britain, they came to support Poland, and that's how the World War II started. So Hitler's invasion of Poland is the immediate cause for World War II. So now let's get to some of the unknown facts, right? The first unknown fact is that there were almost 600,000 Jews in the United States of America Army, but only 2 survived to be awarded the Medal of Honor. Out of 600,000 soldiers in the American Army, only 2 of them survived, and only 2 of them actually got the Medal of Honor, right? So the second important and interesting fact is that Nazis killed 12 million people. So the followers of Hitler were known as Nazis. That basically refers to the German army during World War II. What happened was that the Nazis killed 12 million people in total, civilians and soldiers included. And out of those 12 million people, 6 million were Jews. Around 50%, around half of the total amount of kills by the Nazis were the Jewish people. The third important fact is that 4 out of every 5 German soldiers died on the Eastern Front. So in World War II and in World War One also, what happened was that the war was fought in many different areas known as fronts, right? So the fronts were named depending upon the direction, like Northern Front, Western Front, Eastern Front, Southern Front, and all those sort of stuff. So in a front which was in the eastern direction, probably that's why it's known as the Eastern Front. In one particular front named the Eastern Front, 4 out of every 5 German soldiers were killed. This is the probable ratio of death of the German soldiers, which is quite a lot because 4 out of 5. That makes 4 by 5 into 120, almost 80% of the soldiers of the German soldiers who fought in the Eastern Front were killed. And the fifth important fact is that the youngest serviceman of the American Army in World War II was a person named as Calvin Graham, and he was 12 years old. He was just 12 years old, and he lied to the authorities about his age because he wanted to serve his country. Hats off to him. And this proves that age is just a number. The sixth fact is the most amazing fact that, according to me, Adolf Hitler's nephew, William Hitler, served in the US Navy during World War II. And he was born in 1991 in a city in England named as Liverpool. So William Hitler, who is Adolf Hitler's own nephew, he turned out to be one of the biggest rivals and challengers to Adolf Hitler. It's really, really amazing. And the seventh fact is that Adolf Hitler and Henry Ford kept a framed picture of each other on their respective desks. So obviously, apparently it seems that they both were great admirers of each other. So that's why they kept their photos, their framed pics or the framed photos on their respective desks. It means that they respect each other a lot and they probably had a great relationship. And the eighth fact is that the first bomb dropped on Berlin by the Allies didn't kill any soldier, but it killed the only animal remaining in the Berlin Zoo, which was an elephant. The ninth fact is that, we all know that Hiroshima and Nagasaki were 2 Japanese cities that were targeted and that were completely ransacked and destroyed by America because, we all know that the atomic bombs were dropped, and it's even said that if it was necessary for a third atomic bombing in Japan, then the targeted city would have been Tokyo. Wow, it's a great fact as well. And the next fact is that 80% of the total casualties in World War I were from 4 countries, namely Russia, China, Germany, and Poland. So around 50 million to 70 million people died in World War II, and out of them, almost 80% of the total people belong to these 4 countries, and more than 50% of the total casualties were civilians, and most of the civilians included women and children. The 11th fact is also very interesting. Nutella was invented during World War II. It's a choco hazelnut spread that we all love. Basically, I'm a huge fan of Nutella. I really love it. What happened was that during World War II, the demand of chocolate was really high because it was very expensive. It was very short in supply. So what happened was, instead of using more chocolate, a little amount of chocolate was combined with some hazelnut and it was used as a chocolate spread. And this is how Nutella was developed and invented during World War II. The last but not the least fact, George H.W. Bush, who's the 41st President of America. Yeah, I think 41st President of America. He narrowly escaped death during World War II. He served as a pilot in the American Army, in the American Air Force during World War II. And what happened was, in a place known as Chichijima, he was on an operation and he was fighting against some Japanese troops, but all of his crew members were captured and 5 of them were eaten literally by the Japanese soldiers. So this is basically cannibalism. So what happened was, just when George H.W. Bush was also about to be eaten, he was rescued by his comrades. So that's how George W. Bush turned out, George H.W. Bush, the father of George W. Bush, turned out to be the lucky man, and he went on to become the President of the United States of America. So these were the 12 facts that I had for you. Hope you found them interesting. And that's all I have today for you folks, and hope you to meet in another video. hopefully tomorrow or day after tomorrow. So thank you very much for watching this video again, and I'd like to sign off. Bye.